Hi. Hello. I wanted to leave this unedited. No fancy edits, no flashes, no zoom ins, zoom outs, pans. No, pan people are cool. But, no special effects. I usually try to put some more high quality stuff on my channel. This is, usually with color correction, improved audio, etc. I have a new office like space. I mean, I didn't move, but it's just I have a new like like arrangement for my workspace, and this is it. I'm trying to make things more sustainable, that'll last longer, etc., so on and so forth. So yeah, today is Trans Day of Remembrance, and it seems like every time it's Trans Day of Remembrance, I don't remember that it's Trans Day of Remembrance. I usually just kind of find out and like, oh, it's Trans Day of Remembrance. There's also Trans Day of Visibility, but I also want to take the time to remember those who we've lost. Well, I'm very lucky to have not lost any trans friends due to suicide. But I've heard that it's so bad recently that the trans suicide rate is so bad that it's gotten worse. Even this month, it's gotten worse, and that's so sad. It's very fucking sad, and that's something that that really affects me. Actually, it's kind of a hard topic for me to talk about. That's why I'm kind of being quiet periodically because I'm a survivor of suicide. I fought against it for a long time. It's messed up, man. For real, it's messed up. Suicide is really hard because here's the thing. I say I don't have any trans friends who have you know done themselves in, but I have cis friends who have done themselves in for different reasons, and it's just like that was hard. That was really hard. So I can only imagine it must be worse for like trans people who, who have family, friends, loved ones, and for them to do themselves in. It must be really hard, not just on the family, not just on the friends, but also on the person like doing themselves in. And it's really messed up because I think the big difference between both of those cases, really, if we boil it down to it, is that it's preventable, right? Systemically speaking, it's preventable. It's all preventable stuff. Like education on who trans people are, it's out there, right? But there's people who not only don't care to research it, but they specifically want to pass legislation against trans people. If I remember correctly, I read somewhere that it's over like 300 or 500, hundreds of anti-trans laws passed this year. I heard in Tennessee, there's a city, I think it's called Murfreesboro, which is such a fucking like meme of a name of a city, right? Because it's now illegal to, present yourself as gay in public in that city. Murfreesboro, Mufreeboro, if I'm remembering the spelling correctly. Murfreesboro, Murfreesboro. That's like saying my freedom, my freedom. Like, do you understand how ironic and honestly fucking dumb that is? Like, I assume maybe it's some illiterate like person who named it that or something, and they probably were like, yeah, that's my free borough. This is my free borough. This is the borough that I live in. I don't know. I'm talking out of my ass at this point. But it's just like, if you're gonna call yourself something free, I mean, at least be consistent in that. It's so obnoxious. It's so obnoxious and it's so maddening, honestly. And I think just the fact that, like I said, it's preventable. These suicide rates are preventable with the resources, with the, like the education, the trans affirming healthcare, like all that stuff, that should be free. That should be available, at the very minimum available. And not gate kept by like red tape and uneducated insurers and shit. Insurances, oh my god. Like, insurance companies are so fucking uneducated on this topic. And yet I mean, in general, in general, like, not even just on trans issues, but just in general, like, I've heard horror stories of people not being able to, like, get healthcare because, like, their insurance company thinks it's, like, not essential, or they just don't need it, which really they just don't want to pay for it, right? It's so obnoxious. It's so dumb. And yet people, like, think that they can, like, speak authoritatively on trans people. Cis people think that they can speak authoritatively on trans people. You realize how dumb that is? To have an entirely privileged class of people who know jack shit, next to nothing, about who trans people are, and they want to pass laws about us? That should make you want to do something, should make you want to stand up for yourself, stand up for your trans siblings. Because I think that's really what this boils down to here, is that all of this shit is preventable. All of this anguish is preventable. It's so absurd. There's some other evils involved in all of this that they want to talk about as well. For example, liberals, and yes, this is going to get political, y'all. And there's a reason why I'm bringing this up, so bear with me. A lot of liberals are sympathetic to social justice, and I'm glad they are, because I mean that's the bare minimum, but I'm glad that they are. But a lot of the time, it's very performative stuff. And then when it comes to action that means anything, they're kind of just like, putting the hands under the butt. Just like, I'm not going to fucking do anything about it. Not my problem. I remember when Joseph Biden, he had all the trans people come to the White House earlier this year. Might have been last year. But I think it was this year, if I'm not mistaken. And then all of a sudden, it's not like that changed anything in terms of, anti-trans laws being passed and introduced. I remember also Biden said that he had our backs. Seems like that didn't solve anything. In fact, if anything, it seems like Joe Biden's just kind of sitting on his ass a lot of the time. Not just with trans issues, but again with all kinds of issues. Abortion rights. Abortion rights are trans rights, by the way. Trans men also get pregnant. Non-binary people also get pregnant, okay? And they're valid. And you know what? If you're a trans medicalist, I'm sorry. I stand for your rights and all, but you, my friend, are antithetical to the survivability of trans people. Just the fact that you have to, that's the other thing I want to talk about. If you're trans medicalist, you then have to qualify a certain medical fucking diagnosis on a people group, which is really messed up. Because of how abusive the medical industry is. I did a whole other video on this. And you want to know something? You know how messed up it is for you to tell people that you're not trans as a trans person? You know how messed up that is? That's why the suicide rate is so high. I mean, in part anyway. These parents' rights groups. If these parents' rights groups were consistent with, protecting children from groomers, the Catholic Church would be the first people that they would have addressed, because the Catholic Church has an immense history of CSA charges and scandals. It is abhorrent that is like not even that it's not that's not on their radar. That's not on their radar. They're not going after like Matt Gaetz and his second investigation in sex trafficking a minor. They're not going after Mike Moon and him voting in favor of child marriages. They're not going after Sarah Huckabee, who recently passed, relaxing child labor laws in her state of Arkansas. Doesn't that kind of concern you? That's something I want to talk about in a future video. I'm getting off topic, but it's like the laws that we pass around kids, they affect trans kids. And they affect all kids, really. And you want to know what's sad? It's that so many people, they're being like accused of being trans when they're cis, when they're not trans. There was a 9-year-old girl who last year was accused of being trans. And it caused a huge comeuppance in the entire school district. Can you imagine the damage that does to a kid? Like, not being affiliated as being trans, but being like antagonized by adults, right? And like, even so, that probably got to give her some gender dysphoria in and of itself, in a way. To tell somebody that they're not the gender that they identify as, even as a cis person, that's got to give you some gender dysphoria, my friend. That got to be fucking traumatic. And at the end of the day, with like, I'm talking about these bigger, broader issues here, because at the end of the day, it does affect trans lives. There are so many trans kids who are homeless. I've met some of them, actually. It's kind of a sad story. There was one trans woman who I knew about, who came out in 2019. She started hormone replacement therapy very soon. She was like 16, I think, and at the time, and then like when I met her, she was like 20, I think. So at that point, she wasn't homeless anymore. She actually lived back with her parents. I think her parents came around and started to understand that she's who she is. Sorry, I kind of stumbled on my words there for a second. But it's like one of those things where, like, she talked about how getting HRT was really, really hard for her until she was homeless. Then it was easy. Being homeless, because then she could go just walk to the clinic and get what she needed. And you want to know what's funny is that's what ended up happening for me too. That's what ended up happening for me as well. I had to run away from home, and then I had easier access to HRT. Because where I was living, yeah, I had a car, but like where I was going was like to get it was really, really far. And I tried to find a provider and insurance that was closer and affordable, but to no avail. So I had to rely on going to the LGBT center in Hollywood, which is far and not great, especially since where I lived didn't have public transportation. Although that's the point, when I became homeless, public transportation was all I had, and I got smart with public transportation, and that's what I ended up having to utilize with public transportation, but it made getting HRT that much easier for me. It was hard, you know? It was hard. Being on the street, and then like, sorry, I dropped something. And then kind of like, you know, kind of like having to hopefully find some place to sleep that wasn't violent or creepy or scary because I'm out in the elements like this. And I was an adult at this point. Can you imagine being a kid doing that? A teenager, even? It's so fucking sad that a majority of homeless children, they are trans people, LGBT people. It's people like us. You realize how messed up that is? You realize how messed up that is? For you to put your own kid onto the fucking street? This is why I support abortion, everyone. Because if you're at the point to where you're gonna fucking, like, have a kid and you give birth to that kid, you bring this fucking kid to the world, into our planet, and you're gonna just throw that kid on the street? Are you fucking kidding me, y'all? I don't think so. I don't think that's acceptable. I don't find that even remotely okay. There's nothing okay about it. It's so inconsistent. It's so inconsistent with all the narrative that we're told growing up. You know, like for example, if you're religious, you're taught that God loves you. Well, apparently God doesn't love you if you're trans. I remember it was like, what, a couple years ago where the Pope said that like trans people are like the devil or something, or like they're God's enemy or some shit. I think recently the Pope like turned like a new leaf on that view or whatever, but like it's still the same goddamn Catholic Church. The one that I mentioned that has all that CSA in it. You understand just like how hard this is to talk about? Because like I have friends who I've said none of my friends have done themselves in that are trans, but I've had some close calls, you know. There was one person whom I won't name, but I'm sure she's watching. If you know who you are, yeah, this is about you. There was someone who I made friends with recently, and it was like her self image was really, really like bad. Like she just started HRT and she didn't have faith that she was gonna transition into someone beautiful, and I tried to tell her like give her all kinds of hints, you know, like not hints but like tips, like beauty tips, tips on how to, you know, on how to uh, have a better self-image, like sense of self-esteem. One trick that I've learned is taking pictures of yourself. If you take pictures of yourself throughout your transition, it's a good idea. You know why? It's because then you can actually tell that there's a difference. I don't have the picture of me when I first started transitioning, but I do remember what I looked like. And I looked a lot different than I do now. This February is going to be 5 years since I started HRT. And I'm really glad to have done that. I got off topic, I'm sorry. ADHD, that's what it is. But anyway, yeah, like that person went missing for a little bit. MIA, if you will, missing in action. Not missing like a missing person, but like just I haven't heard from them in a while, and it made me worried. So it was like my instinct was, well, okay, I'm gonna message the person a few times, and if I don't get a response, I'll see what I can do. And then I started messaging a friend of hers. I was like, hey, listen, like I'm just making sure this person's safe and all that, like, you know. And then I finally got a response like a week later from the person I was worried about, and it was like for both me and that other person, it was like a breath of fresh air because it was just like, thank goodness, thank goodness that like it's not another life that we lost, thank goodness that like that she's still with us, she's still in our life, and that like now she has a boyfriend, and that's so cool, and I'm so happy for her. I remember she was telling me about her boyfriend, sending me pictures, and being like, "Oh my God, I love him so much. I mean, I'm so in love with him, and and he loves me too." And that made me so happy. It made it all the worth it, all the worthwhile. I don't know if I'm saying the words correctly, but you know what I mean. It was great. I'm jealous she has a boyfriend though. I wish I had a boyfriend. I mean, for the record, if you're watching this video, the answer is no. I'm not gonna date you. No. This is called a parasocial relationship, meaning if you met me on here, on YouTube.com, not happening, buddy. Nope. But anyway, that's irrelevant. I'm glad to be alive, and I want to say something else, and that is, it's worth staying alive. Okay, I want to make it clear. It's worth staying alive. Trans joy is worth fighting for. You know, trans kids deserve to grow up to have fulfilling lives. Trans kids deserve to be alive, to be happy, to laugh, to have fond memories. You know what? I'll be right back. And no, I'm not going to edit this. You're going to have to wait. I have something. Part of the reason why I'm not editing this is because my computer is out of commission for right now. I have to get an adapter, and without the adapter, the computer is not going to work for me. So that's part of the reason why I'm not editing this. Otherwise, I probably would have edited it anyway. Do like a really super quick edit. But anyway, I figured it'd be a good time to light something. I don't have a candle, but I do have incense. This is strawberry. And I figured, we could light something in memory of those who lost their lives, those who are no longer with us. May their souls rest in peace. It sucks that they're no longer with us. It's a tragedy, really. When they deserve to be loved and respected and given all of the honor that it takes to recognize that strength, to hold on for as long as you can. But at the same time, we're here. You're watching this, you're here. You're alive. And more importantly, you're with us all. We're all together on this. Oh. There we go. Oh no. There we go. There we go. Nice. Oh no, it's on fire. Oh. Oh God. I hope this is relaxing and peaceful, even if I'm not really being talkative at the moment. This is for all the kids and adults who are no longer with us. But it's also for all of us too, who are still here and fighting for a future worth living. I haven't given up hope. I don't want my friends and my family and loved ones to give up hope either. For all of each other, for one another. And I hope you, watching this right now, I hope you don't give up hope either. I'm gonna let you know right now, if there's people in your life who are fucking with you, there are thousands of more people who are here to love you and to stand with you unconditionally. If it's your blood family who are treating you so horribly, then there's something called a chosen family. And the chosen family is worth seeking out. Because people that you choose to be with in your life, those are the people who will know your intimate struggles, might even relate to them, and they will love you for you being you. I'm sure some of you already know. I used to be in a punk band. It's a tattoo of mine. It says Autistic Chainsaw. I am on the autism spectrum, by the way. But one of the songs I wrote that had me really thinking about it again and again and again recently is called Grow Peace, Not Lawns. I'm not going to perform it right now, but I wrote it in 2011. This was like 5 years before it came out. And there's a verse in there I think is worth reciting. It's kind of the bridge of the song in a way. Or I don't know. There's not really a chorus in there. But the lyrics kind of go something like this. I want you to know that how did I not remember it? I'm gonna have to sing it. I want you to know that I've been free all along. And here's tonight our revolution to unite as one in this sick world. Tear down your fears and never forget who you are. Because you are you. Oh man. I wasn't 100% ready to sing because I haven't had water or anything before that. So I do have water right here though. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know why I didn't sing. I don't know why I didn't have it. I also don't know why I didn't really um I don't know. Did I sound okay singing it at least? uh, to kind of wrap up, there's a couple. I guess I should do like a small channel update. I got 1,000 subscribers. Isn't that fucking cool? uh, so yeah, I'm gonna just let you know right off the bat. So yeah, the question and the answers video is gonna come up soon, but like I need to get my computer booted up. I'm gonna get that adapter hopefully tomorrow. And hopefully it'll work. I'm like fingers crossed because I don't know. But yeah, just be on the lookout for that. It might take a while, but I promise you it'll come out. I still have your questions that you've submitted like in, what was it, like June that you submitted them all? I could be mistaken, but there's also the podcast. I'm trying to find like a good day like to consistently weekly upload them, or I might just do it every other week or once a month or something. I'm trying to find what works because I want to do it consistently, but I also don't want to. I don't want to overwhelm myself because I've got like other projects I'm working on, and then I still have some other video essays I'm working on like throughout November and December. I'm trying to just focus on those 2 months because if I focus on like 2024, I'm gonna get overwhelmed. And I'm trying to figure out like if I even want to do video essays for 2024. I'm still kind of thinking about it. If I want to just do like just strictly podcasts, or if I want to do like video essays. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm thinking about doing right now. I don't know how to end this, so I'm just gonna say solidarity. Um, uh, Go Lakers. I don't. I think it's NBA season right now, if I'm not mistaken. But listen, okay, like I like LeBron James. He's cool. I also like Kobe Bryant. All right, peace out, y'all.